Heyo, Life is Strange predictions.
Okay.
Okay, so David, your mic's unmuted, right?
Yeah, my mic's working for this one. For some fucking reason, our first take of this didn't want to pick up past the first 3 seconds.
So
So,
anyway, here's what we're gonna really quickly summarize our likes, dislikes of the first one, and then get right into what we want for two. So I'm gonna start real quick and
mhm.
just say one of the main issues I had with Life is Strange was I really did like it. I liked the concept of the characters. I liked where it was going, but around midway through, it just seemed like a lot of the plot lines, like of the whole paradox, the world's coming to an end, just seemed to kind of go under the rug. And I guess my main complaint has always been that, like, and something that I joke about to this day is the whole tornado thing, right?
Mhm.
So like you have shit like the big one is the eclipse. Okay, you have a part where there's an eclipse, an astronomical event. There is a the planets are in a different place than they're supposed to be. The guy said it wasn't scheduled. That shit to me implies astronomical apocalyptic consequences. I was even wondering when that game was coming out. I was even wondering if they were going to go into the realm of like dimensional shit ripping apart. Maybe we've shifted to a different dimension where the planets are in different places. They could have gone so many fucking detailed places with it, but it just seems like every time the paradox shit came up, it got swept under the rug. And the big one for me is this entire time a storm was shown. Every time they flash forward to the storm, I took that as this is a storm that's going to be like so large it's going to rip the earth apart. I took that as this is going to be an earth destroying storm. Like at the very least, it like floods or wind like destroys the whole world. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
I took it as that. But the way it was shown at the end, to me, in the ending where you decide to save Chloe, it literally just destroys Arcadia Bay and then everything's fine. That actually blew my mind. That was a part where that wasn't even a thing that I considered that could happen. I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute.
Like,
So it's not an earth ending thing. It's just a storm. Like what? So yeah, because to me, Channel Patrick from Channel Patrick from SpongeBob, we can just take Arcadia Bay and push it somewhere else, or more reasonably, evacuate the town and save Chloe. Problem solved.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
if I may, so everything seemingly tied together with the prequel, but we'll deal with. You can watch our let's play of that or whatever. Uh, but what blew my mind here is what seemingly was this catastrophic event. Like you said, that's my biggest complaint. You've went through about 7 different versions of reality, only to have one city destroyed in the Bay ending, as the community calls it. Uh, Now, I don't know if the comics are going to clear up any of this because the comics are supposed to, touch on, that ending where you save Chloe, the Bay ending, the BAE. It's really a bizarre choice to have a time travel plot that seemingly only fucking, has one city destroyed, even though you've been to, I don't know, everything from like California in the finale where you're with the Principal Wells after you fuck over Jefferson. There no real damage to that city, that state, that existence. You go into an alternate reality where Chloe's fucking paralyzed, and yet that bit there does have like the beach whales and all that shit being in there. It just blows my fucking mind how this actually handles time travel. And we really don't know a whole lot about the sequel that's been announced with the 45-second teaser, but we do know, judging by the interview that PC Gamer had with the Dot creators, that this Captain Spirit spinoff that comes out in a few days will be tying into it somehow. So we don't even know if we're going to see Chloe and Max again, or if we'll ever have any clear sign of if there were any larger implications of seemingly fucking over Arcadia Bay and allowing the entire city to die instead of
So I do have a couple theories. So one, at some point, I think, did you tell me that they are for sure following the save Chloe route in two?
that well, seemingly right now that's being followed in the comics that are coming out. we don't know if that's going to be touched on, that ending in because they've basically announced an expanded universe at E3 with the Captain Spear, which is, we can touch on that in a second, which is,
weird.
Yeah, definitely weird. It's one of those things where, we have this, fucking, ending here that's being touched on in the comics, but there's also this other ending, and a community-made ending that, kind of, well, let's save everybody. I watched
yeah,
it.
just here's all you have to do. Hey, evacuate. Okay, done.
Yeah, not even that. Like, they scripted it really well. I watched a video of it. It's on our YouTube history as well, because I watched it under the Control Chaos account. Because that's what was logged in when I guess I touched the algorithm. I'm like, oh, there's actually a decent ending here. Let's see if this is ending. Wow, they wrote better than the fucking team did. God damn.
It becomes common.
Yeah, but no, that there, being the one that fans, obviously like, that ending you can, essentially, I guess, download on Steam because it was a PC playthrough. But, the comics touching on the Bay ending, I would assume if they're doing an expanded universe, that's the canonical ending. Because that's,
Honestly, to me, I don't understand the point of having a choice if you're going to be like, all right, well, the second game goes down this ending no matter what you chose. That just seems like a dick move to anyone who chose the other one.
I'm assuming what they did because, at the end of it, like Telltale games do, they had, like, the community's choice percentages, and more people by platform chose, save Chloe because fuck everybody else in Arcadia Bay, they're pieces of shit. Even though, there were a lot of characters in that had their own struggles, had their own, issues, but I guess what they did was they just went with that, okay, more people chose to save Chloe, so that'll be the canonical ending for the expanded universe. Let's deal with those consequences of that and right from there.
Yeah. Well, so when it comes to, like, how, because, like, there's a lot of things, there's one simple thing that they could do to fix this game forever for me. A stain that has been there for so long for me, and there's one thing they could do to fix it, and that is wherever Chloe and Max are driving, have the storm follow them consistently. There should be storms every other fucking week wherever they're living, and they should always have to be on the move and basically leave a trail of death behind them, because they are an anomaly now. They exist. They are at the eye of the storm, and wherever they go, they should leave destruction in their wake because they've fucked with time.
I kind of agree with that, because if you are as into sci-fi as both Red and I are, that...
Yeah, boy, watching the rest of Doctor Who with you once we move in.
Yeah, so that's one of those things that you have to have consequences for your fucking actions, no matter what. If you fuck with time ends up fucking with you.
Oh, yeah.
So, even if it's not like a storm, strange occurrences, something there to make sure that anomaly...
It doesn't have to like have the same apparition every time. It doesn't have to apparate as a storm each time. It could be weird shit. Just weird shit should follow them.
Exactly. Constantly. Because if we
because they are an anomaly, and they're gonna have to have a moment where it's like, I imagine Max is gonna pull an Emma and be stubborn and be like, because remember, Chloe at the end of that basically said, "No, kill me. I have to die." Remember?
Yeah, that was the one moment where Chloe was fucking selfless.
So I feel like if anything, it would. Oh yeah, Chloe had a great character arc. She redeemed herself near the end. If anything, I think it would be a moment where, like, you have like an Emma from Promised Neverland situation where, like, Max would be like, "No, I don't care if path of destruction and death in our path.
Fuck the world."
Whatever. I don't know if there's a romantic connection at the end of that game or not, but yeah.
But there definitely has to be some sort of consequences if they're going to make that canon. So, a bizarre, occurrence, everywhere they go, be it New York, be it LA, be it, wherever in the fucking world they go. What really got me with the community ending, that they kind of did all of the things with, they basically, they set up, shop here, and, Max is drawing it for the little church girl, is fucking taking photos and doing all sorts of shit for her, fucking children's books because, while she was in the hospital, if you saved her, she was, drawing little bunnies and all this shit, adorable little artwork for, a kid's book that she was writing.
I liked her. That was a great way to, like, write both sides of religion and religious people,
Exactly.
Like you had the assholes of her, I don't remember, was it her, like, her parents or her dad?
And there was relatives that were like, oh my god, you sinned, and they were quoting Bible verses on, postcards and emails and everything if you dove really into it.
And then you have people that actually just, she, like her.
And her dad was, sitting there, I understand, kind of, it was adorable.
Well, I thought one of her, I don't remember if it was her aunt or, like, one of her.
It was her aunt, I believe. Her aunt with the postcard of judgment kind of thing, if I'm recalling that correctly.
Well, one of them was bad, but I thought another one of her guardians was, like, actually, like, actually chill and cool.
That was her dad, because that was one of the choices, your dad still cares kind of thing. But anyway, so, I really can't weigh in too much into predictions until I get my hands on Captain Spirit, because that's supposed to tie in. But what I definitely do want, if they make the Chloe Max ending the canon of this expanded universe, which I still don't understand how the fuck you can expand a universe that is one fucking city, essentially, and like 30 minutes of gameplay in another before you go back into a nightmare world.
Do we know much about what Captain Sparkle?
Captain Spirit is this little Captain Spirit's this little boy that essentially as a tribute to fucking Sailor Moon because of like
get power?
His power is imagination. It seems like I don't fucking know. Like
I was curious if anything, because the other question. There's two things that I want to know. One was the whole like paradox thing, but the other thing I want to know, because that was the other thing that I was disappointed about in the first one. I want to know where Max's powers came from. That was one of the most interesting things that kept me watching. I wanted to know what he just got it. It just happened.
Yeah,
like, it just
so
operated.
To touch on the prequel, I thought that was going to be like where the powers came from. Like,
yep. Like when everyone, so I don't know about everyone, but David and I think this might even still be on the channel somewhere.
It is.
This. Yeah. If you want to go back and find that, like the first time that she did the fucking scream and fire happened, we were both like, is that metaphorical or is it symbolism or is her power?
Is her power fire? Does she cause a storm by power? No, she just arsoned.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no powers.
I gotta be honest, one compliment to that game though, just as a quick off to the side. I do love how in the background of that entire game is smoke still from that fucking
and the fire slowly dying out. Yeah.
I kind of love that like it's just like every time you like look at the background like guilt, feel the guilt.
It's definitely, that guilt trip of bullshit, that we had, that entire thing, and then it's just shitting the bed in the third episode. Just like, to me, the entire fifth episode of the main game was entirely too short, and leaving you unfulfilled no matter what you chose. That's kind of a prevailing thing in all these Telltale-esque games, but hopefully, once we learn more about Captain Spirit and how it ties into the sequel, we'll have, more to base it off of come September when the sequel does launch.
Mm-hmm.
And we're supposed to get, more information on the sequel in August. But until then, my theory for it has to be, if we're going to continue the power-based, character arcs of, this character's power was, time manipulation. This character's power is, fucking imagination. This character's power is just sassing.
I mean, I can come up with theories. Like, I mean, it might be. Like, I'm trying to remember, when did her powers first apparate? It was when she saw Chloe die, right?
Yep. The butterfly was seemingly the anomaly that kind of led to her getting all her powers.
I assume. I mean, there's a lot of things you can go with it. Like, maybe it's something because this could be some real Doctor Who time paradox shit. Like, maybe just Chloe. As a I don't know though, because the reason she's a time anomaly is because of the powers. So I don't know if we want to do a self-contained loop where it's Chloe as a whole, her presence caused it. Maybe it's one of those things where she wasn't meant to die. You watch Yu Yu Hakusho, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember in Yu Yu Hakusho, it was that thing where it was like Yusuke jumped into the car and he wasn't supposed to die there. Like they didn't expect him to do that. He like broke fate and did something like different.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's one of those things where like Chloe like wasn't meant to die there, but something happened, and that caused an anomaly, right? Like imagine like an anomaly shockwave. Like think like radiation from a nuke, but instead of a nuke, it's an anomaly, and the radiation sickness is her power.
I mean, that could definitely be a theory.
She was essentially like affected by the shockwave of an anomaly. Like that if I was writing it, that'd be one of
and that would allow them to, like not have any, overlying consequences potentially as well. They want to go that, cop out route as well.
I mean, it's hard to say if that'd be cop out or not. Like, I'm not sure where else they could go with the powers. I mean, like, again, to me, it almost seems like Max became like the center of an anomaly, and then like that being that anomaly just caused her to be able to just shift time with her presence alone. Like it feels like something that just kind of happened because time fucked up around her, and one of those situations, like an accidental, like she was in a place where there, like if we want to keep going Doctor Who into this, like Doctor Who, there's like rifts, like time rifts,
mm-hmm.
like just like cracks in space and time, right? That you can naturally find, and the Doctor uses them to refuel his TARDIS. Like he'll park on top of one, suck out its energy to put fuel into it, like to kind of like fuel up the TARDIS, and then while he's doing that, it'll also close up the rift. So it almost seems like one of the like just something fucked up with reality, and Max just happened to be there. Like it almost felt like something like that. And of course they could go into because it's Square Enix, right? That makes these games.
Square Enix is the publisher, the developer being Dotnod. I would fathom.
Well, they should fucking step in because I hear Kingdom Hearts plot lines are real detailed and fucking confusing. Like they should.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Well, the reason I say that is because I'd like some detail. I'd rather it be over detailed than under detailed.
Maybe we can get Kate and Reb to do a fucking Kingdom Hearts catch up video before.
Oh my god. Yeah. So like. But yeah, I would just like I'd like a detailed explanation of what happened there for her powers. Like, because if they still have, if she still has the powers in the sequel, which I assume she would, because I also hope they don't go down the path where it's like, oh, my powers are gone. Now we're just two girls on a road trip.
Lesing it out.
You thought this was going to be a supernatural time traveling thing? Nope. What we wanted to make this whole time was just lesbian adventures on the road.
Honestly, like,
because that's what fucking Before the Storm was.
It kind of was. Like, I
was expecting it to kind of have some tie to the supernatural element of it that got me into it.
Like, for everything that went wrong in the prequel, I did respect, tying together all the plot threads of the first game. Like, here's Rachel, here's what led to this dark, moment that, she disappeared kind of thing.
And the cringy play part. God.
I nailed that on my fucking 100% playthrough, though.
You fucked it up?
Nah, I fucked it up on the original playthrough. I did it on the 100%.
But yeah, I mean, because you didn't even, I think, in your first playthrough, you didn't even, like, read the script.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I was like, David, I told you should have read it.
I was just like, I don't give a shit. It's funnier this way.
No, bullshit. You just missed it.
But honestly, it was funny to fuck it up, because it was just like...
But don't act like you're pulling one of those, you trip over a rock and you're like, meant to do that.
Meant to fuck it up, like, but no, it was funnier when you fucked it up, like, because what do
you want? I've said what I want for the sequel, and that would be kind of, because I would love it if they had a conversation. Like, at some point, they should be like, so, now that we're out of there, really should bring up the elephant in the room. Why do you have powers?
Like, okay, so I have two different things I want. Now, one of them is if it follows, Chloe and Max. One of them if it follows a new protagonist.
Ugh, I hope it better not go down the new protagonist.
Well,
I guess it could.
I guess it could because of Cat to Spirit. That's why I'm saying that.
You're right. Okay, so, I could see it being a new protagonist, but I guess I kind of wanted... that would still leave a lot to be desired, and unless
Well,
it's somehow like converged.
yeah, here's what I'm thinking for. Okay, let's go Chloe Max path first. Chloe Max path, I want that elephant in the room fucking addressed big time, you know, because that is fucking necessary to tie that together. Like, okay, now we're here. Why do you have powers? How can we use them to better us or better the world? Blah 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 blah. I'm assuming Chloe will want to better themselves. Max would be like, let's help people with it, you know. But there's always that aspect that could be delved into more. But what I see that also going down the path of is hopefully, you know, like the anomaly of Chloe still existing, being touched on, because obviously there's the need for her to have died there because of the whole storm thing. There's also the need for Max to figure out what her time limit is because of the nosebleed effect.
Yeah, that's that too, right? So like, what exactly is happening? Like, what is like when she's bleeding there? It's like
she goes to the point of actually passing out at the near the end. Like
right.
she strains herself too much.
I scientifically want to know like what's happening. Like if you're bleeding from the note, that's like you know, like, is that some brain damage? Like is there permanent damage from that?
Is using your power slowly killing you? What's going on here? So there's definitely a need for those kind of answers if they go down the Chloe and Max path. Now, if they go down the new protagonist with Captain Spirit being this little boy being the fucking hero of the day kind of thing, I want their paths to converge. I want them to, like, kid, chill with your powers. Don't use them as much as you're using them. You know, it will affect everything. It will affect, you know, all the. I've been there. You know, look at the Arcadia Bay incident, or some sort of code name for what happened in Arcadia Bay. You know, because you know if they go down
huge
this
fuck off tornado incident.
If they go down the you know what would happen route here, and let's be realistic here, the military would cover it up somehow. Like, we don't know what happened. This never happened. You know, whatever. You know, this here was a military experiment gone wrong.
I mean, I don't think that anyone would have to cover it up, because to the public eye it just looks like an extra bad storm, you know.
But I mean, the supernatural events of like whales being beached and, you know, all the dead animals, you know, converging, like even with the one photo, you know, you have like the ants circling the dead bird thing.
Yeah, you know, I would like, considering I feel like people should be more into like, hey, why was there a fucking eclipse when there wasn't supposed to be?
Exactly, like that one there being the biggest one. Like, oh god, we, you know, fucking NORAD did some bullshit here or some shit, you know, that fucked everything up. And, you know, you saw two suns. I mean, we were projecting some sort of laser beam or something. You know, we could do
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, they could, you know, make it into something that conspiracy theorists would, you know, pick up on. I mean, think about it, because, you know, you have all the skeptics of like even David, for example, you know, skeptic of, you know, everybody. So you already have that paranoia aspect at play in the game.
Yeah. We need to address all that. And, because, again, like, I like the characters were actually, a lot of them were written pretty well, but I personally didn't get into it just for a little character drama in a boring old town. That, like, I don't think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. Like, it's not like it was bad, but like the hook of Life is Strange was the whole time manipulation aspect. Like, you can't even say I'm wrong.
No, you're definitely right there. Like, and
so I'd just like to see them delve more into that.
Like the hook for this, you know, spin-off game that's supposed to, you know, branch out the EU. That feels so wrong to say.
Sounds like you're talking about Europe.
Well, yeah, true. But, I mean, to comic fans, EU is expanded universe. You know, we don't...
Oh, I see.
Like, to, like, DCEU, MCU, blah, blah, blah. It's so fucking bizarre to think of Life is Strange as an expanded universe. But I guess it makes sense in the modern sense, you know, if you're having comics and you're having spin-offs and prequels and sequels and everything, you know. Why not brand it as that? You know, it's a great selling point. But the biggest, you know, takeaway from the Captain Spirit teaser, and I almost kind of want to do a let's play of it once we move in. You know, of like, oh god, let's see what kind of new cringe we're going to encounter.
Definitely on Twitch.
You know, and then upload like an archive of it to the channel or something. But it's going to be one of those things that actually is one of the more bizarre things. Like, we have this, you know, superpower of an imagination, which is so intriguing, yet so fucking basic at the same time.
So he's Grammy.
Essentially, yes, he's fucking grimy. Like, you see him, you know, imagining, you know, a spaceship and, you know, trying to beat the boredom of having an alcoholic father.
Yeah.
Well,
So just to clarify, because if we do upload the playthrough on the channel, it would be like highlights.
Exactly. Like, it would be like sizzle
we
reel.
don't like to bog down this channel with like hours of unedited gameplay footage.
Exactly, but it's one of those things that it's intriguing to see, since it's going to tie into the sequel. Like, if we're going to follow this kid, we have to have him meet up with Chloe and Max at some point if they're still alive. And obviously we won't know that unless it's in the game until the fucking comic comes out, which is supposed to be in the fucking holiday season. So the way they've paced this fucking schedule has led it so fucking difficult to, you know, theorize, you know, where each thing's going to fucking touch base at. It's almost like they didn't plan this well.
Yeah, again, that is one of the issues. That is that like, near the end, it just didn't seem like. I'm sure everyone can agree that like a story, any story that like doesn't feel like, you know how unsatisfying it is when a story like doesn't wrap up in a nice little bow. You know,
Bleach.
Yes, Bleach is a good example. But I would even say I think that this is almost worse because it was just like. It didn't really. I don't know. At the time, I didn't know there was going to be a sequel. Now that there's a sequel, that I can't really say much. But if that ending was the ending and there was no sequel, it would just be abysmal. The amount of open questions and not, you know what I mean?
Exactly. At first, you know, I thought maybe they weren't going to release the sequel, you know, because they had announced the comics. You know, I'm like, oh well, maybe they're wait because when they announced Captain Spirit, I'm like, what the fuck is this? The fuck is this? You know?
Yeah. So. We'll see. I guess, but yeah, when it comes to me, I would like some more answers for the things that got me interested in it. And I like the what they captured the whole like. It's interesting because like there's two. I think we brought this up in Before the Storm playthrough, but like there's a lot of over the top moments with these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, what was the name of like the blonde mean bitch?
The blonde what bitch?
Mean. The blonde mean one.
Oh, Victoria?
Yeah. Do you remember Before the Storm where she tried to drug you?
Oh yeah. So here.
I was like,
here's my takeaway from that, Red. As somebody that grew up in a small town, you know, that had seemingly nothing, you know, you knew everybody, all right? So that's what Life is Strange really, really captures really well, is the small town America bullshit. And it's so fucking well done. Like, even in our playthrough Before the Storm, I'm like, wow, this reminds me, you know, shooting cans in the fucking junkyard, you know, when I was a kid. You know, it is so fucking, that, you know, when we were talking about fixing, like, the truck to get away, like, it captures everything of small town.
That, but, like, a lot of time, like,
but what I'm getting at here is, like, that is so fucking normal in small town America that you see shit just go so far under the radar because everybody knows everybody's fucking business that it's become the norm to see shit like that. As fucked up as that is, you see, you know, people, you know, getting in everybody's business, people getting into, you know, like, what is their vice? What controls that person?
Was when someone tries to drug someone, really, no one calls the cops? Really?
Like, as sad as it is, I've seen that, you know, because I lived right next to the bar before they tore down where I used to live. And I kind of addressed that, you know, in the playthrough. Like, I saw, before I moved, like, people, you know, just slipping shit in people's drinks. People slipping, you know, shit. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, it's time to move. Because this should not be the norm in America. This should not be this norm anywhere. This should be, like, This should be like, bartender, call the fucking cops. You're clearly seeing this kind of shit. You know, it's...
But again, this was in a school that prides itself on being like a Blackwell Academy, a good school.
And you, even at Davenport, you would see, you know, shit. Yes, Thurman, we are still filming. He rejoined the call. Like, you would see the more bizarre shit, you know, going on there. Like, there's, you know, people that, you know, are the sports kids, you know, that, you know, have all this wonderful shit going for them, and you see them, you know, using, just like you see in the game. You see that, like, the behind-the-scenes drama of a famous school, of a, you know, school that actually has all this prestige, and you just see it go unnoticed in air quotes, by, you know, the facility itself, because you want to, you know, capture, you know, every aspect of, you know, human interaction. You want to capture, you know, that image of, like, we're perfect, and if these kids fuck up, we don't know them. So it's...
Okay. Well, so what you're telling me is you didn't find any moment in any of these games where it seemed like a bit overblown. Like, instead of just bullies, you're literally dealing with, like, fucking mini Dr. Evils. Like none of
I'm not denying it's overdone, but I get the trope they're going for, is what I'm saying. Like, it's, as much as it's cringe, you know, to capitalize on, like, oh, there's drug use inside the school. Oh, there's drug use, you know, inside of, you know, their normal lives. But when you dig into, or have lived in that, you know, small, you know, American town bullshit, you're like, oh, I get what they're getting at, you know. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, I can tell it's accurate to the sense of like there are parts that seem accurate to me, and I think that it captures that, like, I'm trapped in a shitty town very well, feeling very well. Yeah. So I guess I'm interested to see if it does follow Chloe and Max, you know, if they're driving somewhere. Because it's not like I'm just interested in the power stuff. I do like them as characters, and honestly, I wife the fuck out of Max. I think she's like the kind of nerd girl that's like, I love that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was I think she's fucking great. And when did the first one come out again? I feel like it was fucking forever ago.
I believe it was 2014.
I'm gonna look it up. But here, you give me, so I'm looking this up.
Yeah, but, like, to clarify, like, there's a lot of, like you were saying, like, with the whole, like, you know, drugging the tea, drugging all that, like, even the fact that, you know, there's drugs being used on campus, like, what blew me away is, in my, you know, personal experience, like, when we were giving our presentations in one of my classes, like, there was a kid, I'm not going to name names, that, you know, straight up, like, yeah, I popped, like, 5 Adderall I got from, you know, the sports team, you know, so I can fucking stay up and cram this paper, you know, the last day of fucking class. I'm like, you're just going to announce that to the fucking class? He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Like, it's so fucking bizarre, you know, how open, you know, people are. So, like, after that, and then going into Playing Before the Storm, I'm like, guess it's normal.
Yeah, I guess so. Makes sense to me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, simply to see if they correct my problems with it, because there was a time where I was very, very, very invested in it. It came out January 2015, so really just as 2014 was ending.
So yeah, so you know what's so bizarre about that, right? Now I kind of understand the whole, like, lack of fulfillment of the last few chapters, because that was right when the fucking voice actor strike was starting. So they're like, yeah, we can't pay you for everything, so bye.
The crazy part too is that was 2015. That was literally just like, that would have been the first episode of Life is Strange came out like 6 months after I graduated high school. No, wait, I was 2013. Wait, I'm fucking losing track of time. No, wait, no, I was 2013. So never mind, erase that. When did we meet? When was ITT again?
That was right about the time that I was finishing my associate's degree. So that was right as you were coming to ITT, I think.
Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. I don't know how to end this video off in a natural way, so, yeah.
You know, I guess what we can do to end this in a natural way, like as we hear more info, we can incorporate it into the podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about it certainly.
And obviously, this will be live streamed on our Twitch, the Captain Spirit game, in a couple days.
What, is it out soon?
It comes out the 26th, so like we can film that and stream it, after we move into the apartment.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'd like to. I think I should finish Ape Escape too.
yeah, definitely. You need to finish Ape Escape. So
I should. One more session should be able to.
yeah, definitely. So keep it tuned to that. I'll link the Twitch in the description. And until next time.
We'll alert our fans on Discord when we stream. So yeah.
Yeah. Peace.